If I wanted to learn how to get faster as an athlete and I wanted to become kind of self-taught along the way, this would be my list of resources that I would dive into. And even if you're somebody who's already in university, you have a strength and conditioning team, you have somebody who trains you on the track, it's still good to educate yourself, because when you're getting coached at a mass scale, they can't give you the one-on-one attention that you need. So there might be certain areas where you're lacking, where you need to be able to coach yourself. So this would be my list. In terms of overall, just kind of top to bottom, getting you everything that you need, I think that Fred Duncan is really solid. He has videos here on TikTok. I first found him on Instagram. He has a really big page, really big following. He's very successful at what he does, and I think that he gives you amazing information for free all the time. And then his actual training and ebooks, there's programming inside the ebooks. They're all less than $100, less than 100-page digital download stuff. Like, check that out. Like, I have his book Speed Kills. I have 3 of his full books and programs. I think that he's really fantastic. He definitely knows exactly what he's talking about, and I've seen really good results from his stuff. So go check him out. Then I think another person who's really beneficial, especially for younger people, is Louie Simmons and Westside Barbell. And Louie Simmons is the godfather of powerlifting in America. And really, he's done so much. Like, if you've ever been in a gym and you see a reverse hyper machine, that is because of Louie Simmons. He is fantastic. He's controversial for some things because, there's roids, there's whatever, their style of training, the conjugate method. Some people don't agree with it. I think that there's so much gold in everything that he says. There are Q&A videos on the Westside Barbell page he has now passed on, but listen to those. Like, you're going to hear little things about, like, oh, if you have a weak lower back, do this. If you have this, that. Like, he can answer so many questions on the fly. He does it so thoughtfully. And just listening to that passively, I've had a million things come up where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start incorporating a little bit of this into what I do and a little bit of that into what I do. And now I'm really trying to personally take on that conjugate method more and find a way to, like, really translate it to make it more athletic. And that won't be any, like, groundbreaking research that I've done, because they've worked with countless NFL guys, track and field guys, tons of people from Ohio State, all that, because they're located in Columbus. But Louie Simmons is phenomenal. And just jumping back to Fred Duncan, like, Fred Duncan's influences that he talks about, like Buddy Morris, who's a strength and conditioning coach with the Arizona Cardinals, other teams along the way, like Buddy Morris had Louie Simmons teach him a lot of things back in the day. Also, Fred Duncan has mentioned Louie Simmons and also Charlie Francis. And Louie Simmons is someone who studied Charlie Francis and vice versa. So it's kind of this family tree that exists. But I think a lot of training is like that in general. Then in terms of like a video you could go watch just in how you should train things like your dynamic warm-up, your A-skips, your actual like sprinting drills that you can do weekly when you go out there. There's this video by Jonas Dodoo. He is a British track and field coach, I believe, for the Olympic team. And this video is called Acceleration and Maximal Mechanics in Sprints and Jumps. And this is like a 1-hour video where I believe he's in Sweden, and he's just giving a live demonstration on the track with models going through his movements and how he would coach it up. And that's just something in terms of like how I would execute an A-skip now is now based on this video. So like, go check that out, watch that, take videos, and then when you go out and you do your speed drills, film yourself and analyze it one-to-one with how he coaches it, because I think that there's a lot of utility in that. It doesn't mean it's the be-all end-all, but still, it's great to see how other coaches coach those things and how they cue certain things. And then I think in terms of like a general entryway into track and field as well, I think Tony Holler is really great. Tony Holler, he has the Feed the Cat system. He's very, I think, not controversial, but he's much more polarizing in some ways, because he is heavy in the area of like, you don't burn the steak. You go minimal viable dose. Like, speed training should be always measured. You record, rank, publish, and that is how you should go about everything. So, for example, some of the stuff that he might be training, and please forgive me, Tony, if I'm getting this wrong, but you might have like a 20-yard fly that you're training, and you're going to run that with a timing gate until you see a certain percentage drop off, and then that's when you stop. So there's no like set reps or anything like that. It's much more data and analytical driven. But I think in terms of his things like the atomic warm-up, search up Tony Holler, the atomic warm-up, that's something that he would consider a workout in and of itself if you aren't trained at the capacity to be able to handle more work. So, like, that is a really good starting point if your capacity isn't quite there. So, in general, I think Fred Duncan, Louie Simmons, that video by Jonas Dodoo, and please forgive me if I'm messing up the name, and Tony Holler, I think are really great. But there's a ton of amazing resources out there, and this is the issue with the training sphere, and something that I think held me back early on. I had like analysis paralysis because you're always like, I want to find like the truth, the fountain of youth. You can't look at it that way. If you're not strong enough, if you can't squat like 2 times your body weight, if you can't hit those sort of markers, that doesn't mean that you don't train speed or anything like that. But I think you need to be a lot less concerned about like, oh, this volume, my output, it's too much. Like, no, you don't want to injure yourself. You don't want to do anything like that. But you're going to benefit from getting stronger first and foremost at that time. And I think that also, in conjunction, doing these speed drills, getting out on the track 1 to 2 times a week in that time frame is going to benefit you a lot, because you're going to learn about coordination and how to express the force that you're actually generating and creating with the strength that you're adding. So it's a little bit of a ramble. I appreciate the comment. If anybody has any other things, as somebody who's also trying to become like really self-taught and dive into this more over the past few years, the way I have been, let me know, hit me up, DM me, and we can talk more about this.